Welcome to the Harjit and Prayer show with your host, Harjit and Prayer.
This is the Harjit and Prayer Show, live from Microsoft Ignite 2019 in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Harjit Dalawal. And
Hey, this is Prayer Solanki.
all right, so we're here at Ignite, and we are going to be talking about the conference and also about community. So with us today, we have a special guest, and it's Mick Pletcher.
Hey everyone,
Welcome.
it's nice to be here.
Yes. So how's the conference coming along?
Oh, it's doing great. Lots of new stuff, here, the announcements, and I see lots of people, and yeah, a whole bunch of excitement.
Right.
People are definitely excited.
Big time excited.
Yeah, they are.
And it's funny too. I've been
Especially when the donuts came out this morning. People were freaking out.
Oh my God, did you see the chocolate-covered pretzels today?
Nope.
no.
I mean, I'm sorry,
Bacon.
chocolate-covered bacon. Yes.
Yeah, people are excited.
Oh,
People are so excited about that bacon. And then
They
you add
love
chocolate.
the bacon.
I think there were some announcements about technology as well. Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's bacon focused though.
Yeah.
Right.
think
right.
so.
Right.
Big focus on bacon.
So okay. So what excites you about what have you come across that's new?
well, the new Microsoft Endpoint. That's-
Endpoint manager.
Yes, that's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
I really like it that it's going to be kind of hybrid, both cloud and at the SECM on-prem.
Right.
So I'm really liking that, and I'm hoping it's going to have a lot more protection.
Right. And what I learned about it is that there is the Intune licenses. You won't need those.
Right.
It's all included. As long as you have config manager, you have your Intune license. So that's a plus, actually.
Yeah, I think that's going to be huge for this.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's a rebranding now. So we've known the product as SCCM, and then that went to config manager. That's what people like to call. And now there's a whole debate out there that what do we call this new thing? Is it mem? Or is it memcm, or is it whatever? It's like so there's people are trying to figure out what to call this.
I know I've seen a lot of that on Twitter, people going back and forth on it. So I guess time's going to tell.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Prayer? What do you've come across?
Well, walking through the Microsoft areas, there's a couple of things. I've been more interested in some of the emerging technologies. So yesterday, first thing is there is a virtual external tour of the Microsoft data center in Sweden. So you put on a virtual reality glasses. I don't know the manufacturer. And it takes you above and below, and then the drone brings it back down, and then you can see a 360 view of the data center. You can see people walking around. There's a highway there, and I'm like, what in the world? This is
Wow.
amazing. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I was excited. I was like, man, I am totally flying right now. Like, it felt like I was in the air. It
Oh
was
my
really,
God.
really cool.
I bet that was HoloLens.
It wasn't a HoloLens because it was virtual reality, not
Oh.
augmented, so it was completely closed off.
Ah.
Yeah, I thought it was a HoloLens too. The guy was like, "Oh no, this is not augmented." So yeah, the next thing that was interesting is there is a setup with a bunch of Azure Connects linked together, and what they do is they put you like in a two-dimensional virtual world, and this thing is scanning you, and it just does like digital representations of what you are. So you could be a bunch of lines or squiggles or dots and stuff like that. So a bunch of us got in there, and most people were just like standing around, waving and stuff like that. Like I actually started a brawl. I actually got punched in the face during the thing, and
For real?
it was for real. Like our friends weren't looking, and then they started looking. They're like, "Oh my God, they're in a fight!" And the Microsoft guy was like, "What is happening right now?" It was just an accident. We had fun with that, but unfortunately, somehow the recording got lost, and you could have it sent to your phone.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
And today, this was actually a lot of fun. In the IoT section, there's a gentleman that has a bunch of cameras set up that are being fed into a NVIDIA GPU, and they're running machine learning models on it. And so as people are walking by, it picks them out person backpack. There's a chair, recognized the chair. I put my phone up to it, phone.
No, really?
Yeah, and then I did a Bing search on my phone for giraffe, held it up to the thing, giraffe. Did a search for you on it, a picture of you, Sasquatch. No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you. But I actually did do a search for Sasquatch on Bing, showed the picture to the camera, and it came up as person. I'm like, well, that solves it. Sasquatch, Bigfoot.
That's
big
what
feet,
it is. That's
they're
a
just
mystery
people.
solved.
They're just
Yeah.
people, man. If the internet machines are telling us it's people, why shouldn't we believe them?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the future, so why not? Why
Yeah,
not trust that
They
knowledge?
had a really good one today. I missed it. I hate it because I had a choice between two sessions, and it was fascinating from what I heard. But it was the one where the person built the cabin and it used IOT devices out there to make it high tech.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then he explained like how I asked like as a complete noob at this thing, how would I get into it? And it's very inexpensive, and you don't have to know the detailed coding behind it, because people have come up with models that you can use in your algorithms to identify things and what do you want to do with it and stuff like that. So it was really interesting.
That's
So I
really
wanna,
cool.
yeah. So it's not, they've made it very learnable, if that's a word. I don't know. So I'm excited to kind of like get into that a little deeper.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
I saw something way at the back by the exchange and that general area. There was a exercise bike, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And the guy's like putting a new thing to it, and and the lady explained to me, and there was a phone with the Outlook email open, and she said it's a new way of, we are always on the go and stuff like that. And they've come up with a new way of actually reading your emails and stuff, so you can be on the go. So I haven't really got into how it works, but that's something like you could be exercising, you could be moving, and this new concept of Outlook.
That's pretty cool. Sounds
Yeah.
like kind of like the what Apple does with CarPlay.
Probably,
I
yeah.
just had a brilliant idea. Like, what if you could have an app on your phone that like will only let you look at it if you've completed like a certain amount of physical activity first?
That would be cool.
Ooh, I never thought of that. That is a good
Yeah,
idea.
get
Yeah.
everybody off their phone. And so maybe those people were like, oh man, I gotta unlock my phone.
Yeah.
So like hop on a bike.
Yeah.
That'd
That's
be-
a really good idea,
Yeah,
actually.
make it happen.
I like that. I tell you, one of them that fascinated me too was, did you all see the booth over there with the John Deere tractor?
Yeah.
So we went up there, and actually he had all the robotics behind it, and for
Cool.
going out, digitizing farming.
Yep.
Okay.
And it had the plotter out there where the robot goes out, plots the whole piece
The
of
land.
land. Yeah, and I'll tell you, that's a huge thing, because I got into a conversation back in Nashville with, actually, of all people you would never think of, my mechanic.
Okay.
And his son does that now. His son went to college, majored in agriculture, but got into technical, and he said it's all robotic now at farming. And that's all his job is programming all these robotics out there to do. And I never dreamed we'd have a John Deere tractor here at Ignite.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't think this is how civilization? This is how it's going to start when the machines decide one day. You know what? Let's not make the food as nutritious this year. I'm not kidding. Or some country could hack in and be like, yeah, make that. I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
hey, the new Terminator is out.
I know. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Like, we're
Yeah.
talking about all this machine learning. Like, I hope somebody is thinking about the movies that we've all seen growing up. But, I mean, obviously, I don't think we're anywhere close. Like, here's how I think about it. We have software, and, like, look at all the bugs that come in software.
Oh, sure.
So, if we were trying to build some Terminator-type device, imagine all the bugs
Right.
that are in that thing. Like,
And I mean, everybody, there's a lot of people scared of that, but hopefully, I may be too optimistic, but I don't think humans will be dumb enough to put critical systems like our weaponry, nuclear arms, all that, into AI's control.
oh, sure.
I wouldn't think we would be.
Especially, we just moved off of floppies for
Exactly.
our nuclear
Exactly.
infrastructure, right? So,
Yeah.
Yep.
But still didn't go networking, though. They were smart enough
Thank
to not-
goodness.
I know, I
Yes,
know.
Thank goodness.
Right.
Right.
So
So, what is different about Microsoft Ignite this year?
there are
In-
dogs.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen those yet.
Yes.
What?
They're right over.
there.
I know. I gotta go.
They're
check them
diagonal to
out.
us.
10 to
Okay.
2. They were
What else do
carting
they
them
have?
out in strollers today.
Oh,
So cute.
dogs, cats, rabbits.
Mhm.
Nope, just dogs.
Just dogs.
Dogs.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool that they did that.
So
Oh.
they didn't have the elephant and camels this year.
No,
That'll
not
be
to
next
that
year.
I
yet.
didn't see them.
Okay.
One thing that's different is all the water bottles are barcoded,
Yes.
and you can scan the barcode every time you fill up into an app. I forgot the name of it, which then donates water to a nonprofit. And so
Yes.
the more people that
That's
are using
pretty
it
cool.
and are filling up, I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, people are filling up this year. I'm seeing that a lot too.
Yep.
And then this year also, they're really pushing diversity.
Yes.
That's another big one. So
Well, more community focus, right? It keeps increasing and increasing. So this
Right.
year we have the humans of IT concept, which technically, yeah, we are all humans. We are all right. So
absolutely.
if you start using the wrong terms, then it's like, wait, but am I not part of that? You know?
Yep.
Which brings up a good topic too, because IT has for so many years it's been that black box in most companies. Everybody knows IT exists.
You're out in the basement somewhere. And
Right.
Right.
Exactly. And they don't have exactly what you said, that human touch.
Yeah.
They just do what their job, and they don't ever try to integrate. A lot of them don't.
Yeah.
And that's critical.
Yeah. So this whole diversity thing, it's not just here, but in general in my daily life, I have, some hot cold about it, because I feel like sometimes people use the word diversity, very casual, like it's a safety word. It's like if you mention that, then everything's okay. We covered our bases.
Yep.
But, but it's not. It's like what is the true meaning of diversity? And nobody can tell you that, especially the ones that are promoting it.
Sure.
So is it just about a segment of the population, whether it's women or LGB or Asians or whatever? Male, female. So I feel like sometimes it's like, oh man, by promoting one thing, then you kind of discriminate and not include the other. So it's a tough situation.
Oh, sure. Well, IT still has the. I mean, it's not nearly as bad because
Yeah.
there are more. And I don't mean this about anything bad, but there's more normal people coming in IT. It's not as, like it used to be back in the '80s when I started programming. It was all geeks.
Yeah, that's the mindset that we had, right?
And it's
Yeah.
still out there. The mindset is by a lot of people that aren't in IT, but we have people that you would never dream of.
Right. What about what do you guys think about the term IT pros? And I use it as a catch-all. For me, it's like we're all IT pros, regardless of what we do, whether we are a programmer or whether we are developer or the person that's actually, plugging the cables or repairing a machine or whatever, right? To me, it's like IT pro means IT professionals. So we are professionals in the IT industry, but yet again, I feel like sometimes people will kind of scold me and say, yeah, but you're not including developers. I'm like, I am. That's what I'm trying to say. It's everything to me.
Sure. No, I like the term because, going back to the term geek, people even still today, they have that term, oh, it's just geeks. They don't, some of them still don't think of you as a professional.
Professional, right.
Right. They know you do your job. They know you're the backbone of most companies.
Right,
But they
right.
still have that mindset from years ago, especially, older folks.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's important to actually stop using the shortened version IT Pro.
Okay.
I think we need to start saying, I am an information technology professional. Because one of the things that I have noticed starting this like in '94 when I was in college, whenever you are at that time, when you wanted to pursue a position that had something to do with technology on the infrastructure side, they're like looking for electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and I majored in physics. I'm like, I don't have any of this. Like, how in the world am I going to get into this? So, I was lucky, I had the right connections and networked and stuff like that. But IT Pro just makes it sound like a casual thing. Like, but no, it's an information technology professional. It includes data architects,
Yeah,
software
sure.
developers, computer technicians, wiring professionals. And then from there, like, oh, what kind of IT professional are you? Okay,
exactly.
I run
Yes.
cable. I run cable. Make sure it's to spec, and maintain all of that infrastructure, which is super important. If we didn't have those people doing it,
Which
we'd
comes
be
back
in a
to
lot
the.
of trouble. Yeah,
It comes
It's
back
all
to
in-
that same thing I said earlier, the black box
Yes.
that we work in.
Mhm.
That so many companies have that view.
Yep. You don't ever hear a mechanical engineer say, "Oh yeah, I'm a me,"
Right.
or
right.
"I'm a EE." No, they say, "I'm an electrical engineer. I'm a nuclear physicist. I'm a medical doctor. I'm a brain surgeon." Then you get niched and stuff like that. So
right.
Sure.
Right.
I think it's
That's
why
a
not
good point.
take the time to actually say that's what I do. I'm an information technology professional. Oh, what kind? I'm a systems administrator.
Right.
On
Right.
what platform? Mostly Microsoft.
Exactly. And then you just dive deeper and deeper because right. So you got the big bucket, and then
Yep.
what segment of that bucket, and then
But that
your
also
specialty down the road.
see, you got a problem with that though. Is most of the non-technical people out here don't even know there's all these different areas of IT. They know that they think there's a programmer, there's somebody that builds my computer, and they don't know there's any other. Like, I can tell you the vast majority. I do SCCM primarily, and then PowerShell. They've never heard of that. They had no
Right.
idea there was even something that whether you had to deploy software.
Right.
Um,
So back, a while back, so IBM has a big plant and has been a big presence in Vermont, and there are a lot of workers there and stuff like that. So when I would run into somebody and I'll say, they'll say, oh, what do you do for work and all that? Well, I'll say I'm an information, IT professional and stuff like that, and I work with computers and stuff, and they will say, oh yeah, my husband is also. I said, oh really? Where does he work? IBM. I'm like, what does he do? Well, he doesn't really do technical stuff. Is just because you work at a technology company that doesn't make you there's so many other positions, right? You could be a salesperson, you could be a manager, or work in a cafeteria or whatever. So it's very interesting to kind of break that perception and stuff.
And I'm going to apply a stereotype. Most IT professionals don't really want to carry a conversation.
Yes.
It's that, what's
Yes.
that BBC show, the IT crowd?
I've heard of
yes,
that.
yeah.
I've seen it one time.
Every time the dude picked up the phone, did you reboot? Right? Did you hit the power button on is it off? Is it, like that, very stoic. And I see that here. It's like, whoa, like, we have created this stereotype,
We
and
have.
I think it's us to bust out of it.
See, that's what I say about my job being an SCCM admin, where, okay, I push the software out to everybody in the law firm I work at, but you know what? I also went out there and got to know all these lawyers. I mean, I don't know every one of them, but I know quite a few of them, because I know if I make a mistake, which everybody does, I don't care how good you are, I want to be able to beg their forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I don't, if I know them and I'm not in that little black box and I can say, this was a mistake, so-and-so happened, they're far more likely to say, I understand.
Yep.
Instead of, trying to throw the hammer down on me.
Sure.
And that's vital.
Absolutely.
And then like some of the software I push, it's not all just a push where it uninstalls or reinstalls. Some of it requires end user cooperation too. And if you know your end users, they're far more likely to work with you.
Absolutely. I
So
agree.
that's why I stress that to IT people, especially ones that do my job, that you're interacting with the actual end users. Get to know your clients.
Right. Right.
Definitely.
So should we dive into community
Sure.
stuff? Like, so what? So we obviously we talked about Microsoft Ignite being more community focused and stuff like that. So we've run into a lot of people, and I'm really amazed that 5 out of 10 or whatever people I run into, and I'll say, hey, is this your first Ignite? Have you been here before? They're like, no, this is my first time. I'm like, oh, really? Interesting. Okay. So tell me more, where you're from, and do you know that you have this here, you have, these these things you can do. They're like, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, I said, go check this booth out. Go to Community Central. Um, you know, you got special coffee over here, and they're like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And it's like, I think it's overwhelming at first, right, for these people, and
Oh, absolutely.
it's interesting to like kind of guide them at the same point in time and feeling like, you know, yeah, I know this stuff because we've been here so many times, and
Sure.
to give them that information. But you also see, like, Prayer and I did a show about languages and the do's and don'ts and stuff, and so I've been actually being proactive and reaching out to certain people and saying, when I look at them, they're kind of quiet. I'm just too extrovert. You just can't stop it. It's like,
Oh,
hey,
absolutely.
so what's going on? So what do you need? What are you doing here? And stuff like that. And we just make conversations. Here's an interesting story, though. So last night, actually the night before, I just happened to scan Facebook. I haven't been watching, a lot of my Facebook stuff because I've been so busy here. But I'm part of a Facebook group for Malaysians because I'm from Malaysia. Malaysians in the USA or something like that. And I happened to see this post suddenly on my wall. It just came through. And there's this gentleman, he said, hey, is anyone here at Microsoft Ignite in Orlando this week? And I'm like, what? Really? So I reached out. I said, hey, yeah, I'm here. Message me and stuff like that. And he did. And last night we were, a bunch of us were out, and doing some social stuff. And he messaged me, and I said, okay, yep, I'm going to be here. Come join us and stuff like that. And he did. And sure enough, we broke the ice, and he met the group. And he was amazing, right? He was a good guy, and he had fun, and stuff like that. So it was just like giving him that extra helping hand. Like, I'll make the connections for you, and then you can take it from there, however you want, right?
Sure.
And it's just amazing how our world is. It may be big, but it's actually technically very small. We run into people that are from the same locations and same backgrounds and things like that in some odd locations. We went out one night, and I ran into someone that said, where she asked, where you from? I said, Vermont. Oh, yeah. I was just in Vermont. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, my dad lives there. I'm like, really? Okay. Blah, blah, blah. We start talking, and she mentioned my town, my exact town that I live
Wow.
in. I said, you're kidding me. And come to find out her dad lives like maybe half a mile from my place. How small is this world, right?
Oh,
Yep.
it's definitely a small world.
Yeah.
I learned that in airports. There is hardly ever a time that I fly somewhere that I don't run into somebody I know.
Sure.
I mean, I ran into, the last time I was in Dallas last year, I hadn't seen him in almost 30 years, one of the guys I graduated high school with.
Wow.
Yeah.
And who would have thought that?
Sure. It
Yeah.
is definitely a small and very connected world if you want it to be.
If you want it to be, yes.
It
So-
really is.
Other than, instead of focusing about community and connections and networking here at Microsoft Ignite, what in a general way, we can provide some information or some guidance for anybody out there in the world, or to how to get connected, how to network, what are the resources out there? For me, it's social media, right? That's how I do my thing.
That's what I use. And for instance, I had lunch today, and I sat at one of the tables over here, and I just
Yeah.
started talking to the ones at the table. And this woman that was sitting beside me, she was new. You could tell she was nervous here because she had never been to Ignite before, and a lot of them that are brand new are just overwhelmed. And I can see why, because it's absolutely enormous.
Right.
And so we started talking, and she was going back to her room every night. And I told her, I said, well, there's the corporate parties. And I directed her to the
Yes.
Ignite parties on
The website, yes.
Yes. And I said, go on there, go up to vendors, and then especially some of the vendors that you use,
Right.
and
That's-
talk to them.
That's the main ones you want to go because, hey, I'm using your products.
Sure.
I like what we've been using, and we've had this relationship. Is there something that's going on that I can participate in?
Right.
Those are the most genuine ones,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, and the parties usually start from somewhere between 6 and 7. Most of them every night.
Right.
And of course, we got the celebration Thursday night.
Right. Right.
Yep.
So, as you know, with Prey and myself, well, I run the Tech Connect group, and it's technical. I post a lot of stuff there about news and bulletins and things like that. And then other people sometimes will chime in with, "Hey, does anybody know how to do this? Oh, I try to run this tool and I'm getting this error," and then people will come in and they're like, "Yeah, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is the, have you tried this and have you tried that?" And Prayer has done that same thing himself. And and then we also, like, obviously the three of us are connected together anyways. We run a podcast, we run a YouTube thing, and we are reaching out to our audience and the community in that way. We're trying
Definitely.
to give them something, so the only things that we can give is what they want. If they don't tell us what they want and we don't know, it's we'll just go by
Sure.
play, right?
Right. And there is no single human that is all knowledgeable in information technology.
No,
There's
absolutely
no
not.
human that is knowledgeable in everything that is Microsoft, or even down to a single product.
Exactly.
Oh,
Not
absolutely.
So some knowledge of all that happens in information technology is dependent on those people that are willing to share information. And so the more that are willing to share, the sum total of knowledge increases, and it increases the level of total quality and
Right.
what is available to us and stuff like that. So it is a field where it's all community driven
It
at
is.
its heart. If it wasn't there, then I don't think it would progress at the pace that it has been. So I think we have to get more people to be able to connect via something to just lift it up
Right.
to another level.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I know PowerShell fairly well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I know it fairly well, but I just learned something new here a week and a half ago. I never knew you could use parentheses in PowerShell, like if you're, for instance, if you're going to populate a parameter, you can put parentheses around it, the item, and do like a variable plus close quote some value. I never knew that, and it's just something. It's simple. It's something that I sometimes it's the simplest stuff, but
But you find it from the community.
Yes,
That's
I did.
exactly how it is.
Yep.
it was, and it was a
Yeah.
simple thing that I was like, how did I never know that all these years?
Right. And but the key is that, anyone that's not connected is how to reach to them and say, "Hey, you have all these resources.
Right.
You have all these tools." But getting to them to know that, like, I've been pushing people to join Twitter. I'm like, you have to. It's just, there's a lot of information out there. Follow the right people, follow the right hashtags, and you'll start seeing things come through. And then you
Yep.
can, Facebook may not be for everybody, which is fine. I respect that, right? And I don't use Facebook in that sense either. I use it in closed groups. That's where my content is. And some will use LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn as well because that's also like a very community kind of a thing.
Yeah, and just to add to that part, most of them don't use LinkedIn groups, and I think LinkedIn groups are very valuable. Actually,
Yeah.
now today, my traffic coming for the blogs and getting the information when I write a new blog, a great deal of it comes from LinkedIn groups.
Yeah, I think it's way better than Facebook.
Oh,
groups
yeah,
personally,
definitely.
Yes.
It's more professional. It's more consumery content. It's to
Yeah.
the point, less garbage essentially.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sorry.
because when I post something on LinkedIn, and if someone likes it or shares it or makes a comment, I can go into their profile and say, "Wait, what kind of work this person does?" And this person does some similar stuff than myself. Oh wait, this person does cybersecurity. Oh my God, that's something I really want to learn. So you build these connections like that. It's really, really powerful. So those are some ways. So what I do is that whenever I meet somebody, I run into somebody and I said, "Do you know about Tech Connect? Do you know about this? Do you know about that?" They're like, "What?" I said, "Here, You need to join. Because once I bring them into my circle, whatever that is, then they start seeing the value of it, and they bring in other people, their colleagues, their
Definitely.
associates, whatever. So that's how I reach out to them, you know. LinkedIn, speaking of LinkedIn, it's been really fun here at Microsoft Ignite, where, instead of writing, people, I've seen some people that they're trying to, hey, what's your contact info? I'm like, no. Are you on LinkedIn? Yeah. Open up your app. You have the app? Sure. I said, okay, look at the barcode here. Did you know you could do that and scan it? And I showed a lady yesterday about that. And then there has another feature called nearby, look nearby or something. I can't remember the term for it. And if we all have our app open and stuff, or it'll say, hey, so and so is nearby. Do you want to add that person? It's just brilliant, right? The technology is there to do it.
It is.
I've only shared my LinkedIn information, and actually,
Yep.
people have, without even me asking, oh, can I find you on LinkedIn? Like, yes, you can. And
Yeah.
then there we go. And honestly, like, community is going to be built by the people that want to build it. If they want to stay in that closed office in the basement, wherever it is, then that's going to be their community, and that's their choice.
Yeah, you're right.
We can only invite.
We have to respect that. Yes.
Yeah, and go from there.
And some people, I can understand that. Some people work at companies that don't want them to share anything.
Yes.
Sure.
We have some friends in that way too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are not able to be open in public and for various reasons, and so
Which that's not for me, because that's one of the things, like where I am now, that was one of the first things I said to them at the interview was, I said, do you all mind if I blog stuff that I do? And
Right.
they said, absolutely not, so long as you don't have any, vital information that you're exposing,
Right.
we're fine with that.
I think Prayer did that when you got your new job too, and
Yep.
you
Not to disclose
he
everything.
he disclosed it, and they were like, oh, that's fine, and in a way it brings value back to that organization
It
too,
does.
and so yeah, that's pretty cool. Any other tips you guys have?
Well, I wonder this year, one thing I haven't tried is, I wonder if we can use barcode readers on our badges. Last year you could.
Barcode readers.
I don't have that kind of time.
I didn't know. I just, it was a thought. I haven't even tried it this year.
Uh.
But last year you could actually point your phone at it.
Oh, I see. I get it. Yeah.
Remember that last
Yep.
year? And it would read it. And I don't know. I haven't even tried that part
Yeah,
this
that
year.
works and doesn't work. It depends.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the app that we did that with last year. I just deleted it too, but because it
Yep.
was like kind of an odd app, and oh yeah, look at that. It was just a pointer to information. There
Yeah.
was nothing in it. It was just like a key, and then I guess the vendor database sends that to Microsoft, and then they pull that information down.
Yeah.
So like my name isn't in this thing. It's
Yep.
just a number or alphanumeric code, whatever.
Right.
But yep.
Yeah, it's for me. So I'll end this. For the community segment of this is that I get a lot of benefit for what I do by using these tools. These being out there. I'm able to test products, software, things like that. Because companies want you to do that, and you become an advocate for it. It gives you early access to things, right? You can field test, provide feedback, and it's valuable, right? That your feedback is being implemented back into something.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So-
it was like yesterday I had this one person come up to me. He noticed my badge, and he was like, oh, you're exactly the person I've been looking for.
Yeah.
And he said, I knew you were coming to Ignite, and we started talking, and I had just published a reboot.
The reboot, yes, the script.
Yes, on
Yes.
my blog. And we went through it, and he said, that is exactly what I needed. And he said, I just needed your, because, some people, you need to actually talk it out with them.
Sure.
I know when I write a blog, I don't always include everything. Sometimes
It's hard to think of everything.
it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I know I'm at fault of that. Sometimes
Yeah.
I expect people to know more than what,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, a couple of things we went over, and bam, it worked perfect for me.
Well, similar to the sessions, my patching session that I have coming up on Thursday, and I've got more than 20 minutes of content easily, and I'm hitting easy the 20-minute mark, but I have to go through really fast but I'm trying to provide a service. I'm trying to provide information. The rest of it is like, please reach out to me, right? And I'll give you the details after the fact. But you also have all these resources that are provided to you, so we can only do so much.
Absolutely.
You know, we can't think of all angles of everything, and so yeah, that's that. So, what is there anything that you guys are really excited to for the next few days here, for technology-wise, or anything that you guys are really anticipating seeing or doing?
I'm really wanting to learn more on the IoT devices.
Okay,
And so that's the thing I'm going to.
that's fascinating.
I've
yeah.
been, I've been learning a lot about SQL, and I've really boosted my knowledge on it lately. So I think IoT is my next
Cool.
So
big
that-
thing.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because yesterday I ran into a gentleman who works for Microsoft, and he was at a booth, and I'm just walking around and start talking. I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Toronto." I'm like, "Toronto, okay, whatever." And we start talking, and he says, "Oh yeah," he says, "we are expanding in Toronto because of IoT. That's the move. That's the movement that way. You know, they're moving to downtown, and I think they're adding like 500 to 1,000 new employees and stuff. It's all because of IoT." And so he said, "If you should try to get into that field if you're interested." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Well, it's always been a field that's really interested me, because when I was in college and doing computer science, I wanted to learn how to program microcontrollers. But when I was in college, you had to be an electrical engineer program to learn how to do them, and I couldn't get to the classes, even though I did computer science. But
Right.
now that we have IoT and Azure and all this,
Yeah.
and like we were talking earlier, it is far easier to control these devices than ever before.
Sure.
Right. Today I was really excited because I've been wanting to talk to somebody about moving from Office 2019 to Office 365, and the complexities and not complexities. So I went over to the Microsoft booths, and I had to hit about 2 people, and then finally got the right person, and he just showed me a bunch of stuff, like gave me so many resources. I'm like, oh my God. I didn't know this, I didn't know that. Here I'm thinking I knew about it. Like you mentioned earlier, right? We don't know everything. And but he helped me out. So I think if there's a takeaway from this, it was that particular resource that I got today that justified everything about this conference this week.
Cool.
So that's cool. So anyways, any final final words or anything else you guys want to share?
Well, I am looking at the screen here, and they're going to have Guardians of the Galaxy on here soon.
Oh, that's right. If you are, that's cool. That's great, because if you're here for the first time and yet you don't know about the corporate parties and stuff like that,
Yes.
and Microsoft is hosting this, that's a perfect way to network.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely. And so here's one of the things that people think when they come to this conference that, which I'm not saying they don't need to. They need to go to the classes, sessions, learn stuff, but the networking is just as important as that is.
Yep, definitely.
Because that's where you get like we were talking about earlier, your community involvement.
Yeah.
So you have problems in the future, you have somebody to go to say, hey, I've got this problem, can't figure it out.
Right.
I was at the Exchange Online booth by the bike, and I had a question. And I said, I created a ticket for this, but it doesn't seem to be moving anywhere. And they said that this probably needs to be escalated to the product team. And he's like, "Well, I am the product team. Give me the ticket number." I'm like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "That is freaking really cool." And he's like, "Yeah, I will follow up on this. I don't think it needs to escalate to us, but I'll track this to see, I'll get it. We found each other on LinkedIn, and boom."
That's
I was
perfect.
like, I'm like, now that right there is the value of
Exactly.
Yes.
That is the value of it.
I had a similar
we've been
one.
struggling with this so much, this issue, and I'm like, holy cow! Like we're gonna get the answer.
Yep,
Yeah.
I had a similar one. We use Fortinet for VPN, and we've had a site. I mean, it's a great product, but there's just been one little function we can't get to run. And I went right up, and it was one of the developers there, and he gave me a similar answer, and he said, when you get back, call me direct.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Yep.
I had the same thing happen about 2 Microsoft Ignites ago, and I had an issue with Config Manager specifically. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I just could not get it resolved. And I said, I'll wait till I come here. And I did, and I hunted somebody down, and I said, look, I'm going to connect back to, my environment, whatever, and showed it to them. And it's like, oh, right, okay, I see what the problem is. This is how we'll fix it. This is how you can do it or work around it, stuff like that. So the value of that it's unbelievable.
It really is, and it makes such a huge difference when you can make contact in person.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Definitely.
Yep.
It really does.
Yep. And just visiting booth, going from booth to booth. I stopped by the Microsoft search for Bing, and I just wanted to tell them, like, hey, I use Bing. I collect my points, and it buys me Chipotle 3 times a year. Like, oh, that's great. We love it. Can we show you something? And then my friend Pat and we're like, holy cow, we had no idea the Microsoft search for Bing was available. If you have a tenant and you sign into the Bing app with your work account, and then just search for yourself, all your information comes up in the Bing app, like, oh, your title, your location. You can upload AutoCAD files to Office 365, which will have, like, your room numbers embedded in the file. And so in Active Directory, when you populate the location with that information,
oh my God,
it will show you on a map, not in the mobile, but on the web interface, this is where the person is. I'm like, where their office is or something like that. I'm like, that is really, really cool. And guess what? As people leave and a new person comes in, or they change position, if that location field is being updated by your HR system, guess what? It'll follow them, and all that information stays up to date. I'm like, I had no idea this was here. This is such a huge added value for organizations. So they were excited, and again, connected on LinkedIn. So because I'm like, I'd like to provide some feedback. You can customize the page to feed in information for certain searches and stuff like that, so that when somebody launches Bing and they're signed into their work account, boom, like your company name shows up, and then, like, if you're a medical company, all right, the top medical articles or whatever, shows up.
That is amazing.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah. And then they're like, hey, you want a Tumblr? I'm like, okay. I'm like,
that's always a bonus.
That's
right?
great. Yeah. They weren't giving them to anybody, but then I just wanted to say thanks, and then boom. So more connections made. And for something, I get made fun of for using Bing, but then
I use it.
Yeah, I use it. Yeah. I know so many people that use it, and it's awesome.
Yes.
So.
In fact, I do a lot because of all my social media stuff that I do, I'm always searching for images. So I just have that Bing as my default, search engine, and I'll just type in something, whether it's a coffee cup, and then I'll click on images, and it'll give me all the images, and then I'll start doing, variations of it. If I want something, quirky, I'll put, coffee cups funny or something like that, and I'll find some funny things, and it's really, really powerful. It's really amazing. That's how I get my images. That's a little trick.
Cool.
And and then our friend Stuart was mentioning that he had a great time with the Edge stuff, the new Edge and the new features.
Some of the new behaviors we can control with group policy on how do we handle legacy sites that worked, and how Edge will seamlessly translate pages. Well, it'll instantly transition into like an IE5 mode to be able to bring up legacy sites and stuff like that, and the user will never know. It's just running in Edge. And then if you click on a link that takes you to a new site, it switches back seamlessly, and again, the user never knows. And stuff like that. And then you can limit it to, like, nope, I don't want you accessing these legacy sites, but these are our old corporate sites that still haven't been updated, so here's the ones that it should run in this legacy mode. So
it's huge improvement. Oh my God.
Yep.
There's a lot of fun stuff here. A lot of cool things this year. It's exciting.
And like I said, I think some of the biggest stuff this year are IoT devices. That's some of the really big stuff here at this one.
Yeah.
The Edge, the endpoint.
I seriously, I'm looking for the day when we're watching the keynote, and this is why I will not watch the keynote in the room. I'll be at a remote location when they bring out some, like, and this is our new war robot. And, like, that scene in, what is that? RoboCop. When it goes, when it goes nuts, it's like, that could, are we going there? I really hope not. But again, it's software bugs.
It's leading that way, though.
Software bugs. We got drones that can do stuff, but
So
It's been fun. Like, it's really crazy to be like, 3 years ago, I never would have thought we would be here with machine learning and artificial
oh
intelligence.
I know.
yes, yes.
And then the new Azure Stack form factors.
Yeah.
right.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to have the power, the manageability of Azure within that little tiny thing that can fit in a backpack.
Yeah, yeah.
That's wild.
That
It is.
wild.
Yeah, that actually, you're right. That is another big one, the AI, machine learning here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So who knows what we'll see in 3 years.
Did you guys like the keynote, the new concept?
I did.
Mhm.
Okay.
I
I
enjoyed
thought it was fun. It was neat, very interactive.
Yes, definitely.
It uses the entire space. It wasn't like
Mhm.
stagnant in one, it was very fluid and really well done, well choreographed.
And then you can go to the product booth and say, you showed this thing in the keynote. Can you go into it more? Like,
Yes.
it's right there.
Exactly.
Instead of this setup, to
on the stage.
on the stage, and then we don't know if it's going to be here. It's actually there.
Mhm.
Right.
So-
Right. So brilliant. Anyway, so we gotta end this. And Mick, it was great to have you.
Yes,
And,
definitely. Thank you.
We'll definitely, stick around. So I have to mention something here for Microsoft Ignite. Basically, thanks for listening to our podcast. We did record it at Microsoft Ignite, and Microsoft is giving away Microsoft Surface earbuds to our listeners. To enter, you need to visit aka.ms/podcast sweepstakes.
That's not even the word.
Podcast
Let me do that part.
sweepstakes.
aka.ms/podcast sweepstakes.
And it's URL sensitive, so make sure it's a capital P and a capital S. And you need to do this before December 15th, and hopefully you'll give us a like and join us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, and we'll end this. And Mick, you want to say who you are and how to get in touch with you?
Sure, I'm Mick Pletcher, and you can get in touch with me on Twitter at Mick_Pletcher.
That's a nice Twitter handle.
Yeah.
And my name is Prayer. You can find me on Twitter at the IT Jedi, also on Instagram at the IT Jedi.
All right, and I'm Harjit Dalwal, and you'll find me on Twitter as well
Say it.
at Hoorge. HOORGE.
It's not even how you. Whatever.
Prayer gets a laugh every single time I say it. Every time. Anyways, it was fun, and cheers, folks.
Yep. See you later.
Cheers.
Fork, fork, fork.